Living with spina bifida hasn't always been easy. After years of living fine with spina bifida since my toddler years, in the summer of 1995, the effects of spina bifida hit the family again. It wasn't until 20 years ago when I had to deal with having spina bifida firsthand myself, to my recollection. I was having seizures, I was throwing up, I was having headaches, and I didn't know why. I remember having seizures on 2 occasions. I may have had more, but I don't even remember 2. On one occasion, I was at home in the bed with my mother, and I just seized. And my Aunt Marge was at the house, and she went into action, and we all got in the car, and she sped up the street to the hospital and got us there, and they took care of me while I was at the hospital. But they still didn't know here in Kingston what was going on. The second episode that I remember having a seizure was when my mother, my brother, and I were in Poughkeepsie, New York at the mall. We were either going into the mall or coming out of the mall, just finished shopping. And I had a seizure right there in the parking lot. I remember throwing up. I remember hearing my mother yell and scream. And I still remember both of those incidents like they happened yesterday. Oh, thank God I made it through. Still couldn't find out what was wrong, didn't know what was wrong, didn't know I was having seizures.
The time you had a seizure at the mall, and Mom was yelling at me to call the police, and I had to call 911, and I didn't know what to do. And there was the other time that you had a seizure at the house, and Aunt Marge was there. I remember you rested your head on my lap after you got surgery, and I was looking at your scar on the back of your head.
Do you remember anything else from the summer of '95 when I was sick, when I got sick? Or those are your only memories of when I got sick in '95?
Only memories I have, or when Mom beat me because I told somebody that's fine.
It was challenging because, again, I wasn't married then, so I became a single parent, which was, I wouldn't say it was difficult, but it was challenging. It was an uphill battle. However, even though your father was not in the home, I still had family members who loved us and who stepped in and who helped me raise not just you, but your brother as well. They became my support system, not just my family, but I had support from some of the church members, such as Elder Margie Knox, Sister Ethel Knox, who helped me and who would come to my aid anytime I needed some support or I needed help in raising you. And there was one time when you had a seizure and Elder Marge broke all the speed laws. She made people move to the side and yelling and screaming, very, you know how she can be dramatic.
It's so funny how all three of us remember that incident with Aunt Marge, and none of us knew that we were going to say that.
For us, whenever I called, no matter what time of night, morning, noon, or night, she was there, as well as Sister Ethel Knox.
My father was in the military, so we went to West Point, and West Point couldn't tell us what was going on. So about the month of August, we made our way down to Washington, D.C. to go to Walter Reed Medical Center to see what was going on. They had a spina bifida ward and clinic, so they were like the experts at that time to figure out what was actually going on with me. And they found out what was wrong with me. I was born with hydrocephalus, which was water on the brain, and I had a shunt installed. But the shunt at that time, because I was getting taller, I had outgrown it. So they had to put an adult shunt in. So I had to go get my hair cut and got one side of my head shaved. Went back to the doctor. Doctor said, this is not going to work. We have to shave the whole head. Now, my mother is big on hair, so she was too keen on having to cut all my hair. She's still like that. I just recently cut my hair for a reason, but she still wasn't too happy about it. But we'll get to why I cut my hair later on. Me at the time, I just went along with what had to be done, not knowing what I would have to deal with when I went back home with my peers and being in school and going into the second grade. It was hard. Kids are innocently, I guess, sometimes cruel. Some, they don't know that they're being cruel, and some, they're just being cruel. I remember being in an assembly in the gym, the whole school, and my hair was still cut short, and this young man, this kid, I think it was in the 5th grade, was sitting behind me, and he said, "Oh, look, she looks like she has stars and moons in the back of her head." Oh my gosh, I just felt so bad, and it bothered me so much. Pause. Have you ever been kept bound by something for a long time? Something someone said to you, something someone did to you? Perhaps you did something to someone or said something to someone that wasn't right, and you can't forgive yourself. But it really hurt me, you say. But it really scarred me, you say. They haven't forgiven me, won't talk to me, and it bothers me that they won't, you say. I pray that you free yourself right now. The incident you just heard about kept me bound for 22 years. Yes, 22 years. Over 2 decades. More than half my life. When I think about it now, it was something so trivial. He didn't even say it to me, but I heard him. He probably doesn't even remember me, more or less, what he said about me. But at the age of 8 or 9, it was one of the most humiliating things someone has ever said about me. Last month, during National Hydrocephalus Awareness Month, I shared on my social media accounts how the scar had power over me these last 22 years. When I would get my hair done, I always made sure that it was styled in such a way where the scar wouldn't show. When getting my hair done in braids, I made certain that the parts were just close enough and that there were enough braids covering the scar to hide it. In 2010, because of the infatuation I had with Rihanna and Taraji P and how they were wearing their hair, I had my hair cut in a similar style, and I made sure that the beautician didn't cut too close in the back. Then in 2015, I shocked some of the people closest to me, and even myself, by having my hair cut into a tapered afro. I was adamant with the barber that he not shave too close in the back. Now, here in 2017, I have come to a point in my life where I think that the reign of the scar's power should be completed. I mean, the number 7 is the number of completion, and I'm ready for a new beginning for 2018. 8 is the number of new beginnings. So in honor of National Hydrocephalus Awareness Month, right before the month ended, I went to a barber and snatched the power of the scar away. I will admit, before I went, I got nervous, probably thinking, am I doing the right thing? Will I look right? I spent most of the time going back and forth with the barber on what to do and how low to go. But you know what I discovered while there? There was really nothing to be scared of or self-conscious of. Where the scar is located is at the round part of my head. So it is up further than I thought. And the way that I wanted it cut, most of it will be still hidden. But I didn't care if it was visible anymore. With me thinking it was lower on my head, I actually wanted shown with a heart around it to symbolize that I have now embraced it. It's a part of my story of overcoming the sickness and the difficulties I endured in the summer of 1995. But I still wasn't ready to be like Sanaa Lathan, especially with autumn here and winter right around the corner. Plus, I like high-top fades. I say all this to say, get free of what kept you bound. Forgive that person who did what they did to you, or said what they said. Forgive yourself for what you said or did to someone, and because of it, they're not speaking to you anymore. The forgiveness isn't for the other person or for the old you. It's for you, the new you, to be free to live in the now and in the future, free from the weight of the hurt, the pain, and the guilt. If I had the chance to tell that young man thank you, I would. His hurtful comment became part of one of the biggest breakthroughs I've had in my life, and now I have embraced what the scar really means to me, and I love more of me. Now back to the regularly scheduled program. And that's not the only thing I had to deal with. I had to deal with having accidents in front of my peers. People, making fun of me. Oh, she's wearing a diaper, because one time my shirt was lifted up and my pants were a little bit down. And you could see that I was wearing a diaper, and I was in elementary school, still wearing a diaper. But that was because I have no bowel or bladder control. So at the time, I don't think they had pull-ups yet, so I had a diaper on. It wasn't until I was about 12 years old that I finally accepted that I had Spina Bifida. I couldn't get rid of it. I had to just live with it. But before then, I remember being in my bathroom. I had an accident. I don't know if I had the accident at the house or I had the accident out in public. And I was just so distraught. And I was just like, why do I have to deal with this? I can't stand this. I hate this. I was just crying and just so remorseful that I had to deal with this. And I didn't like it at all. But later on in life, I came to realize that I was born this way to give glory to God, to show the world that it doesn't matter what you're born with, that you can achieve the greatest things in life that people say you can't. And that's what this series, Life in the Daylight, is all about.